Did Robert Redford really whisper 7 names before he died at 89? That headline raced across the internet. I dug in, and there is no verified interview or obituary that prints a list. His publicist said he died surrounded by those he loved, not reading names. Reuters and the Associated Press focused on his art, his family, and his causes. They noted the Oscar he won as a director for Ordinary People and his decades as an indie champion. They did not report a final confession. So here's my plan. Instead of chasing a rumor, I will show you the women who truly shaped his life. Their stories explain the man behind the legend. Think of the faces you know from his films. The Sundance Kid in Butch, Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, Johnny Hooker in The Sting, the dogged reporter in All the President's Men. Now meet the real influences who stood behind those choices. What is the first Redford role you remember? Hold that memory as we begin with number 1, the woman who set his compass for good. Number 1, his mother, Martha. Every legend starts somewhere, and his began with a mom who loved wild places. As a boy, he battled polio. She took him to Yosemite and put his feet on trails that felt like pure freedom. That is where his love of nature took root. It never left him. Then came the blow that shaped him. Martha died when he was around 18. She was only 40. Redford later said, "What I regret is that she died before I could thank her." You can hear the ache in that line. That early loss gave him a quiet empathy you feel in his work. It is in the still moments in Jeremiah Johnson and in the resolve of his crusaders. It also planted the seed for a lifetime of environmental action. He learned that beauty is fragile and time is short. That lesson never let go. Losing his mother shook him, but he did not stay alone for long. Number 2 brought a young activist who became his great love. Number 2, Lola Van Wagenen. He married Lola in 1958 when they had more grit than money. She was an activist and a steady heart. Together, they built a home as his career caught fire. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. The Sting. All the President's Men. 4 children arrived across those years. Scott, Shauna, James, and Amy. Then tragedy struck again. Their firstborn, Scott, died in infancy. Redford later said it was really hard and that a loss like that leaves a scar that never heals. He and Lola carried that grief and still pushed forward. She encouraged him when doubt crept in. He has called her a great love and a shaping force in his life. After 27 years, they divorced in the early 80s, gently and without scandal. The bond did not vanish. It matured into respect and memory. Lola anchored his family and his values. Next came a quieter chapter. Number 3 is a designer who stayed out of the spotlight, but not out of his heart. Number 3, Cathy ORear. After the divorce, the tabloids watched him, but not every story made noise. Cathy worked behind the camera as a costume designer on his films. They were linked romantically in the mid to late 80s. There were no joint interviews, no red carpet declarations, just crew sheets, set whispers, and a few careful notes in industry roundups. I like this part of the story because it says something simple and true. He did not chase only fame. He connected with people who built the work with him, designers, artists, and craftspeople. That is how films become worlds we believe in. Cathy's chapter is brief and public record, but not small. It shows Redford as a man who respected the craft and the people inside it. A quiet romance in a loud town. Sometimes the soft pages turn the hardest, but the next page was anything but quiet. Number 4 brings a CoStar romance that burned bright and fast. Number 4, Debra Winger. On set, sparks fly, and theirs did in 1986. They met while working together and slipped into a real-life romance. It was sudden, it was intense, and then it was over. Debra soon began seeing Timothy Hutton, a friend of Redford's. Gossip columns feasted on the twist. Friends said Redford took it with grace, even a wry laugh at the plot turn he did not see coming. What matters is the human beat. Even the most composed leading man can be blindsided by love. That sting echoed in the complicated lovers he later played and chose to direct. It is one more thread in the tapestry of his empathy. Quick pause. If you enjoyed deep dives into classic Hollywood, subscribe to Golden American Legends. Tap like and share this with someone who loves Redford's films. Now, from Hollywood heartbreak to a romance with a Brazilian star. Number 5 is a long love that did not ask for a ring. Number 5, Sonia Braga. Their story feels like a quiet scene in golden light. They grew close around the Milagro Beanfield War in 1988. Friends say it was steady, warm, and real. They kept it simple. They kept it adult. Redford told people he had no desire to marry again. The past can make anyone careful. Sonia did not need a ceremony to know what they had. They were partners for years through the late 80s and into the 90s. He poured himself into films and into Sundance. She brought her own fire and global grace. Together, they showed how love can be deep and calm at once. When it ended, there was no war of words, only the sense that they had shared something that mattered. Not every great love needs a final act. Some are chapters you close with a smile and a sigh. And then came the final chapter. Number 6 is the last love and the one that stayed. Number 6, Sibylle Szaggars. She is a German artist and activist who crossed paths with Redford at his Utah resort in 1996. They clicked on art, on nature, and on the kind of quiet life that lets the work breathe. For 14 years, they built a partnership out of daily things: studios, canvases, meetings, long drives in long light. In 2009, they married. Friends called it one of Hollywood's most stable unions. He often said his greatest pride was family. With Sibylle at the center, that pride felt complete. They backed environmental projects and kept the noise down. The public sought a calm elder statesman. In private, he was content. When he died at 89, the official word was that he was surrounded by those he loved. Sibylle was there. That is not a headline. That is a life. Now, step with me beyond the list. Let's look at what all these loves built and why it still moves us today. We have met the women who shaped his heart. Here is what he did with that heart. Redford founded the Sundance Institute in 1979 and lifted independent film for generations. He used his fame to push for environmental action. Those Yosemite roots ran deep. He chose stories about truth, risk, and conscience. From Jeremiah Johnson to the newsroom thunder of All the President's Men, you can feel the empathy learned from love and loss. He was married twice and a father of 4. 2 of his children died, a grief he carried with grace. He left an estate estimated around $200 million, but the cultural legacy is bigger. He built pathways for artists who did not have a way in. He gave them a stage and an audience. That is the quiet power of a life well used. No final list can hold it. It lives in people who got a chance because he believed, and it lives in the films that still make us feel seen. Let's bring it home with one last thought. Every woman we covered taught Robert Redford something he never let go. Martha gave him awe and courage. Lola gave him a family and the strength to stand after loss. Kathy showed the value of the craft and the people who build it. Debra reminded him that even legends get their hearts surprised. Sonia proved a great love can exist without a ring. Sibylle made the last act peaceful and whole. The rumor about 7 names fades next to this truth. His life was not a final speech. It was decades of love, work, and purpose. Share your first Redford memory in the comments and tell a friend who would love this. For more stories like this, subscribe to Golden American Legends and keep the classics alive. Thanks for watching. Check out the other videos on our channel. Here is my question for you. Will he be remembered more for his films or for Sundance and his activism? I will be reading your answers. See you in the next one.